Right, hello again. Back to the Stihl ms201tcm like we had on here the other day when we were sorting out the starter. Today what I want to cover with you guys is probably one of the most important safety aspects of any chainsaw is the chain brake assembly. And this one has got a floppy chain brake, okay, that isn't good. Very common parts that wear that make this happen. So I'm going to take the chain brake assembly off, take it apart, run you through the parts, show you why that's happening, and we're going to sort that problem out. Then we'll put it back together. Okay, very good practice for you guys to be able to do this because, like I say, it's safety. So let's do this very quickly because it's my dinner time now. What is it? Yeah, 5:30. So there we go. Chain brake assembly. Let's get that out of the way. There we go. This one's clean, okay? Obviously I've been there, done that, cleaned it, and normally they look like that and they come off chainsaws, and worse. So yeah, not the nicest thing to be able to work on, but nonetheless they've got to be worked on. So let's take this little plastic cover, which is only a couple of screws. This is a Stihl Torx driver. If you want to buy one, there you go. There's the part number on there. If there's any parts, any tools that you want to buy that you see me using, then message me and I'll ping the part number over to you and you're going to be able to buy them. So first of all, as I always say, nice clean workbench, nothing around to get in the way, confuse us with the reassembly when we come to do it. So we've taken 2 screws out, 1, 2. Now this little plastic cover, you have to lever this bit of plastic out the way, and then it will, did you hear that little crack then? Just moved it out the way so you can pull that little plastic cover out, okay? And that now exposes what's in there. And that looks lovely, okay? That's what I've just cleaned and prepared for this purpose solely. So now I'm going to show you what you would normally come up against. Okay, same principle, take your 2 screws out. 1. Do this all day long, these sort of repairs down at Tidbury Judds in Dorset. That's these guys. They've got a shop down there in Shaftesbury. Look it up. Great bunch of guys down there, or it'll be up here in West London, just at Judds, where I'm half the week and half the week down there. So we've taken that cover off, and that's what you're normally looked at. That's what you're normally presented with when you take a cover off. So it's not nice. So here I've got the benefit of an airline and down in Dorset, so I can get the airline in there, clean that out. That's why I always wear glasses. If you're dealing with compressed air, then be careful, okay? So clean that out. If you've got compressed air, great. If you haven't, then you know you've got to do it the old-fashioned way, let's say. So now to take this chain brake assembly apart, first thing you do, flat bloody screwdriver, we want to release this tension on this spring. So keeping this hand out the way, okay? Nothing scary is going to happen. Just keep your eye and listen. I'm just going to lever it over that little, there you go, ping. So that's the tension off of that spring. Nothing scary happened there. So, 1 spring. So the next thing we're going to take off is the brake band. This is what locks onto your clutch drum when that goes forward. So you want to make sure that's in good condition because that is your lifesaver, okay? Lovely, that's that bit done. So now this is your chain brake, your hand guard, okay? Before we take that out, we've got a little circlip. I don't know if you can see that on that little pivot point there. Tiny little circlip. We're going to pop that out so we can remove this. Little screwdriver, flat blade again, nice and carefully. There we go. So now we can take the, what I call the knuckle, because it moves about a little bit like a knuckle, and the chain, the handguard out of the way. So pull that out of it and that out of it, because those two go together like that, okay? There's a little slot inside that that fits into, okay? So got rid of that, got rid of that. So now we're presented with that, less and less. This is a little rubber damper. Now that's called It's called an insert. I call it a bone because it looks like a little bit like a dog bone. And that bit there that I'm going to take out now is called, believe it or not, a flat spring. It's not very flat and it doesn't look like a spring, but that's what it's called. It's called a flat spring, and that's where our problem is. Okay, this is what puts pressure. See that little bit there, that shape, that sits in there. Okay, when that's in position, it sits in there. So if that is putting pressure on that, it's stopping it flopping about. So what happens with these is, after they get used, they straighten out a little bit. So what you've got to do is either replace it, silence, there's a brand new one. So if that isn't too worn, you can bend that back into shape. If it is too worn, then you can replace it with a new flat spring. I've bent that one back into shape, okay? So now, I found another problem, common again. See that bone, the insert, supposed to have 2 of those in there, and that one's just fallen out. Look at that. So you found 2 problems with that chain brake assembly. So now, let's get that insert out, that bone out. So all I use with that is a pair of long nose pliers, pinch it and lever it out, okay? It's not difficult. I'll say that. And this one will be difficult. Tell you what I'm going to use. I'm going to use my little flat bladed screwdriver and just lever that little beauty out of there. There we go. A little bit of dirt behind it because dirt gets everywhere in these, okay? Just clean it out. Right, okay, so that's it disassembled. There's all your parts, okay? Cover, brake band, flat spring, spring, damper, okay? And we've got a circlip in there as well. So now we found the problem, 2 problems. We're going to put a new insert, a new dog bone in there. This is a snug fit, so sometimes you give it a little tap in with a hammer. That's it, that's in there. And then this goes in next, your flat spring that isn't flat. Third part that goes in there is your damper. Okay, it's got 3 pieces that you need to locate in this. Okay, can be a little bit fiddly, but that's how fiddly it was. It went straight in there. So that's that. Damper in position. So now, next point, and this is like so much of the work you do on chainsaws is about sequences, okay? It's like a piece of furniture that you get from, you know, MFI or MFI, they've gone a long time ago, IKEA. You know, it's all about step 1, step 2, step 3, and if you miss the steps up, that's when the problems begin. And I remember trying to teach myself how to do one of these when I first started in this industry, which would have been repairing stuff early to mid 90s, and my God, I ain't got a lot of hair now. I was pulling my hair out back then. So now, okay, you pass that handguard through the hole that you've got there. But the next thing, you need to get your knuckle, your elbow, whatever you want to call it, you pass it into the slot in that handguard, like I said, so the holes line up, okay? Then you've got to get 2 holes lined up over both those pins. And if that spring, the flat spring, is new, you have to bend it down with your finger a little bit so that, hear that click into place? So look, there you go. All right. A little bit fiddly, but once you get the sequence, so that's that all back into place. The next thing, this is what I struggled with back in the day because I didn't have a tool and I wasn't aware that there was a tool to do it. This little beauty is what you use to put the tension spring back on, okay? You see that? Special Stihl tool. If you want it, message me, I'll send you the part number. So the spring goes over the elbow, the knuckle, and then you literally put it inside that spring, see what I'm doing there? Over a little pin, the other end, a locating pin. Oh yes, back into position, okay? Get your circlip, put it back over, oh, there it goes, little bugger. Back over your pin, so that keeps that knuckle, elbow, all in position. Get out, my greasy mitts are for always. There we go, that's back in there. Then the last thing before you put the cover on is this, that goes in position. So you just locate that on that side first, and then you go over that locating pin and push it into its hole, okay? And that's that back together. Cover on, put it over that little peg, that hole goes over the peg. There is a little tab that right there, if you can see it, that this plate goes underneath it, okay? So put that underneath that end, that underneath that, and then what is really important is you push this piece home and you listen for it to click, because that locates and holds everything into position. So listen for the click, put your screws in. One, two little bad boys in there. And now that's chain brake off, but look at that now. It's not floppy anymore. That is because we've sorted that flat spring out that's put tension on the locator on that. So that is how it should be, okay? Perfect. Right, thanks for watching. Take it easy.